This is the news at 6.
Good evening, I'm Hunter Funk. The U.S. Forest Service identified Southwest Idaho as one of the nation's most at-risk wildfire regions. Organizations are taking these next few months leading up to fire season to improve sections of land so they're less likely to burn. Abby Wilt looked into this today. Abby, what are they doing?
Hunter, one of those organizations is the Southwest Idaho All-Lands Partnership. Their goal is wildfire mitigation on public and private lands. They work with the Forest Service, Idaho Power, and even ski resorts to make land more fire resistant.
Southwest Idaho is, for lack of jargon, one of the riskiest places in the U.S. for wildfire.
Wildfires scorched more than 800,000 acres in Idaho last year, damaging property and threatening lives.
A lot of folks that are in harm's way potentially when fires come through our landscape.
Ford Van Fossen says that's how the Southwest Idaho All-Lands Partnership got its start. The group's mission is to protect people and property.
What it really comes down to is moving fuel out of the forests ahead of fire, so those fires ultimately will burn less intensely and be easier to control.
The group explains to land managers the importance of thinning trees, removing brush, and even burning specific sections on purpose. Their partners include state and federal agencies like the Forest Service, utility providers, and even ski resorts. Van Fossen says wildfires are inevitable, but smart planning and prevention practices can limit damage and even save money.
We spend a lot on suppression, right? We do a lot of firefighting, which is certainly critical. But we don't necessarily tend to do as much on the front end. Obviously, the dream would be if we can look to put more work on the ground before a fire starts, we can knock down both obviously the impacts to life and property, but also knock down those costs.
All-Lands is doing its part to mitigate fire risk across the region, but Van Fossen says individual homeowners also have a responsibility to protect their property.
Is there a wooden fence that leads from that grove of ponderosa trees all the way up to your house? You know, if so, maybe that's not the greatest orientation for that fence. You can only treat so many acres, so why not kind of maximize the impact by working together to do so?
And I did ask if the federal funding cuts will impact this organization, and the National Forest Federation says their goal is, quote, to bring a mix of public funding, including federal grants and private funding, to the table.
Yeah, wildfire season about 2 months away, but now's the time to start talking about it. Thank you, Abby.